And welcome to our October edition of Sports Highlights on the Road. We're at Heritage High School at Newport News as we focus on the Heritage football team for this particular show. Sports Highlights runs on Mondays at 7, 2, and 7, weekends at 9 a.m. on Cox Cable 47, FiOS 17, YouTube, and social media. It's a pleasure to talk to Derek Gurley Jr., who is a junior, the quarterback of Heritage. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And you've been playing for Heritage for 3 years. Tell us about that whole evolution.
Well, I first got here during COVID season, and it was pretty rough. The coaches weren't here before. We didn't get started with everybody else, but we stuck through it. We was 0-5. We was 0-5, and then the next season, we only played 6 games again, and we beat Denby like 49-0, I think. But yeah, it was a rough 2 seasons.
Yeah, because that first year you didn't actually play in the fall of 20. You played in the spring of 21. Then you had a quick turnaround. How was that turnaround? You had to do a lot of off-season conditioning yourself.
Yes, I trained myself. We trained with the team. We did a lot of weightlifting because we missed 2 years. The people who were here before me missed 2 years of weightlifting, but we got in there and was working. We still was working. You see, we have a better season of the third season.
How has it been to take a leadership role at such a young age? You were a freshman as the starting quarterback. Who gave you that type of maturity at home? Was it your mom and dad?
Yes, I've always been a leader in the house. I'm the older brother, and I played quarterback my youth days as well. So I'm kind of used to being the quarterback of the team, being the leader of the team, going against people older than me and all that.
What about your JV year in the 8th grade? Did you play any football that year?
I played football. I didn't play JV though. I played for the 757 Colts.
How was that?
It was good. We traveled. We played Maryland Heat. They was a tough team. We traveled along, played Myrtle Beach championships and all that, tournaments.
Very good. Heritage has got a rich history. They won the state championship in 2000, 22 years ago under the late John Quillen. But you talk about it's not just offense, defense, special teams to win a game, and you're seeing your team evolve pretty well this year.
Yes, we have to learn how to finish this year. We've got more components, but you know, it all has to come around during practice, in the weight room, off the field. Character, have to be able to finish games, stick through it, and all that.
And of course, the season is moving along pretty well. Tell us what goes into being a quarterback. Do you do a lot of handoffs? Do you practice passing on your own? Talk about some of the fundamentals you enjoy.
Oh, well, at practice, I work on my drops, my pocket movement, handoffs, how I receive the ball in the center, the little things, because you know, you got to get the little things down before you start throwing the ball and all that. We do a lot of pocket movement, a lot of footwork, because the most important thing about a quarterback is his footwork.
How is that footwork? Because I see that sometimes when you're back in the pocket yourself, you kind of read where the defense is, and sometimes you run on your own.
Yeah, I'm taught that if my first 2 reads aren't there, I just got to go.
Right. You don't waste a whole lot of time. We'll talk about some of your teammates that you count on.
Well, I count on number 3, Sterling Anderson, number 2, Kyrie Medley-Smith, number 7, Nigel Waiters, number 22, Keon Farmer, and number 12, Jordan Cunningham. Those are like the key components of the offense. And of course, you can't forget the offensive line. Without the offensive line, we ain't doing nothing. Right,
the offensive and defensive line is where at Heritage High School. Sports Highlights on the Road for our October 2022 edition. Glad you're with us. We got 2 more players coming up after this. And let's talk about some of the games so far this year. You got a nice win against Tab on the road.
Yeah, we came out a little bumpy, a little bit of mistakes that showed because of practice, but we ended up getting the score up. I believe it was like 21-6 or something like that. But they ended up coming back because we lacked with the finish. But we ended up getting them in overtime with a fade ball to Sterling Anderson.
And everything clicked against Denby.
Yes.
How was that game?
That game was just about how we execute as a team, because we knew we was going to go in there and win, but we wanted to see how we were going to win, what our mistakes was, what we had to tune up for the next game and all that. And it showed that we had a little bit of weak points, so we just got to keep working on that at practice.
And the Kecoughtan and Woodside game were both very close.
Yeah, Kecoughtan game, we came out first half very shaky, very slow, we didn't have no energy the first half, but we came out second half firing all cylinders. We just had to finish again.
And Woodside?
Woodside, we came out first 3 quarters smoking. up 20-8, and then that team just broke down. Small mistakes, but that comes with practice. If we practice seriously, then we'll be able to play all 4 quarters.
Yep, sometimes you just got to put the game behind and focus on the next game. And the good thing is sometimes no matter what the record, you can still possibly make the postseason. That's still your goal, is the postseason.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Talking to Derek Gurley Jr., he is a junior quarterback for Heritage High School. When you watch other quarterbacks in college and the NFL, who do you look up to?
Well, right now, I really look up to Kyle Murray because he's short, and right now I have a tall line, so it's hard to see over them and all that. So you have to find the windows, have to know what the defense is doing before the play starts, so you know the open holes in the defense. Because most of the time I don't even see my receivers. I just see the defense and I throw it to where the hole is.
How much do you feel the pain the next day? Because when you take a run yourself, do you like to slide or you don't mind being tackled?
I don't slide. I only slid like once.
Okay.
But it's a lot. It's a lot. I still got a few nicks on me right now, but I know that's a part of the game. So I'm ready to take the hits, whatever I can, for our team to win.
Absolutely. And what advice would you give to somebody that wants to play football in general? Because you didn't play varsity until your 9th grade.
Well, I would say with football is about life. So you don't want to go out looking for the conclusion as soon as you go. You have to work for it. Football is a life, is referring to life. So you work for what you have. You have nicks and bruises in the season, but at the end of the day, you still come out fighting, just like in life.
Well, talk about some of your coaches you count on the team.
Oh, well, Coach Willie, I've always been with Coach Willie. He's been here since I've been here, and we've been working on our offense, working on our bond, trying to get on the same page on the field and off the field. Coach TJ, the defensive coordinator. We're working on it. We're gonna be there.
So it's kind of funny. You get coached here, and then when you get back home, your dad coaches you too.
Yeah.
Now, what does your dad say? Because he's always messaging me as well.
Yeah, my dad, he been my trainer since I was young, and he been teaching me all I know. He the first one that taught me how to get the ball in the center, the fundamentals of football. Like I didn't start out throwing the ball. I started out getting the handoff. Started off handing the ball off, because that's what you need, the little things first. That's how you get on the field. That's how I got my starting jobs everywhere I went. Because the man behind me, they didn't know how to do the little things right. They just knew how to throw the ball far, but you got to know how to hand it off, get the ball, read the defense. He taught me all of that.
How about some of the other players in the league from Warwick and Menchville? Do you talk to them during the summer and work out together sometimes?
I talked to Keontae Gray from Phoebus. We worked out all summer, last summer actually, and that's about it.
Very good, very good. As we're talking to Derek Gurley Jr., final few moments here, the freshman quarterback, sophomore and junior now, 3-year starter for the Hurricanes, and this district's got a lot of, a lot of history here. Ronald Curry played here, Allen Iverson. No matter who you play, you can't take them lightly. As far as opponents.
Yeah, we have to always come out and play our best game, just the same way people come out and play the best game against us. Because, yeah, they say we're bad, but you still have to come out because you don't want to sleep on your opponent.
Right, because you probably saw what happened was Woodside took y'all for granted, and you guys were ready to play from the jump. So it just shows you, like you said earlier, you got to finish for 48 minutes, play each quarter, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. What did, as far as the future, as far as you got one more year, you still have this year left, you got a lot of football left. Had you started thinking about college yet, or you really hadn't thought about it?
Yes, I have thought about college. I really don't know exactly where I want to go. Virginia Tech's always been just the school I like. I visited there once, and I really like it. But for the future, I'm just looking to learn from my last game, learn from my last practice, and just get better every day.
Time is so important, Derek. How do you balance academics, athletics, and activities?
I make sure in school that I get my work done all in class, like homework on the bus, homework when I get in study hall at school, homework when I get in school, because I can get all my work done real fast, get my work done in there, so then when I get home, I can focus on what I got to do tomorrow.
What's your favorite subject?
Math.
All right, very good. All right, that's Derek Gurley Jr., the junior quarterback who's played as a freshman, played as a sophomore, now he's a junior, and he still has one more year. Yes, folks, Derek Gurley Jr. is actually a junior as well, and a very well-behaved kid right here at Heritage High School. Stay tuned for our next two guests coming up after this.
You're watching NNPS TV. Catch sports highlights on Mondays at 7, 2, and 7, and on Saturdays and Sundays at 9 a.m. Visit us online at nnpstv.com to view all your favorite episodes. NNPS TV, watching education happen.
All right, part 2 of our Sports Highlights on the Road, October edition. Happy Halloween to everybody. Hope everybody's having a great school year in the month of October. We just heard from Derek Gurley Jr. Let's shift gears toward the wide receiver, Nigel Waiters. And Nigel, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And you played for Heritage for several years now. Talk about your senior year. How's it going?
Well, my senior year started off pretty rough. You know, I had an injury right before the season was about to kick off, and just this past Saturday, I had a return game, so I'm pretty glad about that. So it's starting to pick back up.
You've seen a lot of different coaches, a lot of different players come through here.
Yes, sir. In 8th grade, I started playing JV. At the time, it was Coach Taylor. He's now the head coach at Menchville High School. And then my 9th grade year, Coach Fabian Davis, he stepped up and coached us my 9th grade season on varsity. And then my 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, Coach Scott Woodleaf, he has stepped in and been an amazing coach.
Have you always been a receiver, or have you played other positions? I know you played defensive back too.
Yes, sir. I started off actually playing defensive end and running back. And then as I gotten older, I didn't really put on the weight that people thought I would put on, so I began to transition into the wide receiver and defensive back style.
How much do you and Gurley work on your own to develop chemistry?
Wow, it's like just a sudden click. Like I look at Derek and he look at me and he just know. I guess it's like that leadership, looking at another leader, and it's just automatic click.
And you can see your team growing before your eyes. You played during that COVID year in the spring of 21. You bounced back a little bit last year, and you guys are playing pretty good this year.
Oh, yes, sir. We started off pretty rough, transitioning from COVID. We didn't play the fall of my 10th grade year, but we came out the spring. And being that we had a new head coach, we had to learn new plays and formations and stuff like that. So it started off a little bit rough, and that's where people doubt us at. You know, they think that we still trying to find ourselves, but this team this year is really showing that we're capable of being great.
Absolutely. Talking to Nigel Waiters, he's a senior wide receiver as well. And you talk about your offense and defense. What do you talk about the offense position, then talk about your defensive position?
So offense, wow.
As far as you're concerned.
My concern, you know, the offensive line, you know, they're holding it down. They're protecting our quarterback, because without him, we can't get the ball out there. And our defensive side, our defense is, wow, it's amazing. That's what's really keeping us in the game with these teams. Like, we're going to work better on our offense, but our defensive line and our linebackers and me and myself and number 20, Devin Gray, we're really stepping up and playing to the best of our abilities.
Well, talk about your position you play. Talk about what kind of work do you do on your own to get ready?
All right, so to get ready, I watch a lot of Jeff Okuda and different defensive back trainers, and I try to apply what they're teaching them to my game. I practice on my own time. I do it solo. I don't really have that many friends for real, so I go out to the field by myself and I practice on my own.
Very good, because in football you got to be in good shape.
Yes,
so
sir.
You have to watch what you eat, stay hydrated and so forth.
Yes,
Talk
sir.
about a typical day for you.
Wow, a typical day. So I wake up first thing, I eat breakfast. Before I go to school, I have to have breakfast. I eat lunch. I try to lay off all the sodas and the juice. I drink a lot of water. I eat a great meal for dinner. I also run track as well to stay conditioned during the off season, so that's how I stay equipped for football.
Talking to Nigel Waiters, really giving us a really good full rundown, because playing one position's tough. You play two, but you also play two sports and you go to school. How do you balance it?
Man, it's dedication. It's hard at times, you get overwhelmed, start worrying and stuff like that, but you just got to know God is going to be there with you the whole step. So just really trusting in him and, just letting him take the wheel.
I know you got a Clemson shirt on. Tell us your history and fondness of Clemson.
Wow, man, I've been liking Clemson since I know this football. Like when they all the championships, I was like, since Deshaun Watson was quarterback at Clemson, that's when I started to like them, and ever since I've been liking them. That's a dream school of mine.
And Taj Boyd from Phoebus went there too.
Yes, sir.
And there's a lot of different schools. I mean, you got the Clemson shirt on, but there's a lot of good schools in Virginia. You're a senior. What are you thinking about?
Wow, I'm really focused on going to college, playing football at the next level. I have in mind a few schools like Virginia Tech, UVA, Liberty. Liberty been kind of hitting me up a little bit, so yeah, those are my schools.
Because Liberty's former quarterback's playing for the Titans.
Oh yes, sir. Malik Willis.
Yeah,
yes,
he's doing a really good job. Well, talk about some of the different. You've been around for a long time,
yes,
so you
sir.
know a lot of the players from Newport News and Hampton both.
Yes.
What is it like playing against them, and have their teams changed a lot since your freshman year?
Wow, man. Yes, it has. Phoebus, they always been good. I got some buddies up there from Rec League. Hampton, they started real well. I'm not really sure how their season going, but it doesn't sound too good right now. Woodside. Wow, I don't think I've ever beaten Woodside besides my 8th grade year on JV. That was my first time beating Woodside. Warwick, I beat them my 8th grade year on JV. Varsity have yet to come through with that, but we will be getting them this year. And yeah, those are.
In fact, we're televising that game against Warwick, so we're looking forward to that too.
Oh, yes, sir.
What about the other schools like Bethel? And you've already played Kickingham too.
Kickingham game, I was actually out being due to my injury.
Right.
But Bethel, not really sure. Bethel, they got us a couple of times, but we're gonna get them. We're gonna get them back for sure.
Yeah, you got to always play one game for 48 minutes and move on.
Yes, sir.
As we're talking heritage football right here too. We mentioned all the coaches. It's so important because you've gone through a lot of coaches to develop a bond with not just the head coach but the assistant coaches too.
Yes, sir. Wow, it was kind of hard for me when the whole coaching staff left my 8th grade year. I had a lot of them in my ear to come follow me to Minchville, and I just stuck through, and now I'm here with Coach Woodleaf, and we're kind of good right now.
And there's something to be said about loyalty and sticking through as well.
Oh, yes, sir. It's a lot of people that's telling me, man, you got to leave, you got to get up out of Heritage, but it's kind of like, you know what, I'm going to take that leap of faith, and I'm gonna stick right here.
How do you do away with the outside noise and the distractions? Because when you're playing football, you can't check your phone.
Oh, yeah.
You can't really be a kid. It's all business out there.
Wow, you know that's when you grow up. You distance yourself from the world, and you just go out there and handle business.
Right, and it really helps you in life as well.
Oh yes, sir. It's a lot of adversity and challenges that you go through that you will eventually go through whenever you find your wife and have a family. You'll go through some of the same battles that you will on the football field.
Now we're talking to Dr. Phil here. He knows his stuff. And you talk about the future. Really, the future starts now, finishing the rest of the season. You want to finish the season strong.
Most definitely. We will be going to the playoffs this year, and we will be excelling in that as well. Because I have yet to go to a playoff game yet out of my high school career.
Well, let's hope the guys will make it in 2022. And who's your favorite subject in school?
Wow, my favorite subject, I would say history.
All right, very good.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, Heritage has got a rich history right here in Newport News. We just talked to one of their fine players right there, Nigel Waiters as well, who's a senior for the Hurricanes. Stay tuned for our next guest. And welcome to our third segment of Sports Highlights on the Road, our October edition with Kyrie Medley Smith. Kyrie, good to see you.
How you doing?
And you played at two schools, Hampton and Heritage.
Yes, sir.
How's it been at both?
Very good. Being under Coach Smith his last couple years going out, it was very fun, very disciplined. Over here with Coach Woodleaf, he had some experience. I talked to a few coaches here. They said he's the GOAT, so I like hearing it.
Talk about your positions on offense and defense that you play.
I play wide receiver, usually receiver 2. Linebacker, I'm a starting linebacker, usually the Mike linebacker.
So when you were at Hampton, who was your quarterback? And of course you got Gurley now.
Yeah, I had Teddy Watson his senior year.
Very good. What's it like playing with Gurley?
Playing with DJ, many people don't know this. Me and DJ have been clicking for a long time. We played with each other directly. He actually used to be my center. So
He was?
Yes, Derek was my center. We have fun always on the field.
What about staying disciplined? We mentioned how hard it is to practice in August, September. It's still very humid,
Yes.
very hot. I don't know if it's global warming, whatever, but you burn out a lot of clothes.
Yeah, actually, I do burn through a lot of clothes. You can ask my mama; she will get mad at me. Sweaty shirts, sweaty socks, stinky socks.
Yeah.
And she really gets on me about laying on my bed after a practice.
Now, of course, your team is evolving. You've gotten some wins. The key right now, a lot of your teammates feel confident about the rest of the season.
Yeah, as being a leader, they look up to me. I have to keep them looking forward, believe, and they follow after me, and I'm very fine with that.
Very good. What school are you thinking about going to in the future?
Liberty University and Duke. Them is the biggest schools that I'm really looking at right now.
How about the coaching staff? How's it been with the assistants and the head coach this year?
I like it. I really do. I have close bonds with them both, but I really lean towards TJ because he really sits me down, talks to me, gets me through my problems all the time. Coach Woodleaf, he's always on my back. He's like the mom. He's like the mom.
And how do you balance academics, athletics, and activities?
Coming in my junior year, it was really hard. It was fast paced. I had to get my work in. I was moving a little bit too slow, but as soon as I got a hang of it, I get my work in.
All right, very good. We're talking to Kyrie Medley Smith from Heritage High School. He's a senior. He's played also at Hampton High School. He's played with two different schools within a few miles from each other. And you know a lot of kids from Hampton. You know a lot of kids from Phoebus. I'm sure when you play the Hampton schools, it's all in Bethel too.
Yes.
It's always going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, playing them Hampton schools it's like seeing my brothers again after a long time. That's really it.
So there's really no animosity. It's a brotherhood.
Yeah, for real. I feel like everybody in the Peninsula District is a brotherhood. After them pads come off, it's all brotherly love.
That's great, because I've always said what great sportsmanship these kids have during the 48 minutes. We talk about that all the time, and you don't see any bad hits or nothing like that. It's all usually clean football.
Yes, sir. What I got to say about that is really, like, we love each other. We love playing the game of sports. What's the point of hurting somebody else and take them away from what they love doing? Absolutely.
And we're talking to Kyrie Medley Smith. He's a senior for the Heritage Hurricanes. What about the practice field? How do you like the practice field out here? You remember the historic Hampton field right behind. So
Yes,
it's
sir.
kind of very similar.
So the only difference is that at Hampton, the trees is blocking the sun. Out here, we're in the heat. We're working, baby.
Yeah, that's it. How do you guys support the JV team?
We love going to their games, watching them, laughing at them. They're real funny. They got some characters on their team, but I feel like once they come up and go to varsity, they're gonna be a real good team.
But it's funny you said that, though, because Derek started as a freshman.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of you can actually play JV to your 10th grade, but if you're good enough, you can play varsity your freshman year.
Yeah, so when I played Derek my 10th grade year, when I first started varsity at Hampton, it was nice seeing him throw the ball after a long time seeing him.
Right, and a lot of times these quarterbacks, they have to improvise, see what the line is doing, and then they have to make a split decision whether to run or pass.
Yes.
You never know when you're going to get the ball, do you?
No, not really.
You played a lot of different positions since you've been in football, since you've been in Pee Wee football. Talk about it.
So Pee Wee, I started off as a safety. I was really small. I was a small kid. I started playing football at 5 years old at Boys and Girls Club. So after that, I really got bigger. I was eating better. Became a linebacker. Been linebackers since I was 10 years old. Been playing linebacker since then. Then developed into a wide receiver. I got bigger, shiftier, faster.
Now, you played a lot of both ways, offense and defense. Would you rather just play one position?
I feel like playing one position is kind of boring, because if you don't make nothing shake on that side of the ball, you can't do nothing on the other side of the ball to get the ball back.
And that's a good point, too, because let's say you had a bad offensive series, you can make up for it on defense.
Yeah, on defense, go get the ball back. That's my favorite thing to say, go get the ball back.
Exactly. As far as some of the opponents you played over the years, Hampton did make the postseason.
Yes.
And talk about what have you learned from that to help with this year's team?
That when you make that postseason, it's you versus them. And it can't be no me football. It always got to be we. Got to play together.
And one and done.
Yes, it's a one and done.
Right. And how important is it to close? I'm sure you've heard that a lot. You guys have done very well this year.
Yes,
you
sir.
put each win and loss behind you, but you got to play for 48 minutes, right?
Yeah, playing the whole game is very hard for some people, but once you get your feet wet, your feet is wet. Continue to play ball.
Very nice. Talking to Kyrie Medley-Smith, wrapping up the final few moments here with the Heritage Senior. You talk about as far as when you talk about people you like to observe in other high schools or colleges or the NFL, who are some of them?
Jordan Bass at Phoebus. I feel like for right now, he's my age role model. He's really putting his foot in the door for Virginia. I really like it. Keep doing what you're doing, Jordan.
Yeah, as far as other sports that you play or played over the years in high school?
I really didn't play no other sports, but I really do want to get into track and baseball.
Why is that?
Because it's going to keep me in shape, and I feel like baseball, I can put what I learned in football into baseball.
And the good thing is you're a senior. Why not, right?
Why not?
Yeah, be a three-sport player, exactly. So sometimes if you just play one sport, it can open up your eyes in another sport too, like with Terry Kirby when he played for TAB. He played football and he played other sports too. So that'll keep you in shape year-round.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. As far as your future goals as far as business are concerned, have you started thinking about that, or is it still too early?
For right now, the goal is to, after high school, is to go in the shipyard, go to the apprentice program, start early, get a trade, continue to play the sport that I love doing.
And the good thing about the apprentice program is right down the street.
Right down the street.
And you get paid while you go to school.
Yes, sir.
Hard to beat that. So he's got his act together here, folks, as we're talking to Kyrie Medley-Smith from Heritage High School. And you talk about just the grind. Tell the kids out there and the adults what it's like to be disciplined, not only in the classroom, but every day you're physically and mentally beaten up. You got to pick yourself back up.
Yeah, starting off young, my mom was on me. I really wanted to skip practice a lot. She wouldn't let me. I wanted to take a year off. She said, no, keep going. You got to keep going. Can't never stop the grind. You stop the grind, you take time off, it's going to set you back and everybody in front of you.
Because I'm sure you could have done this, slept in.
Yes.
And if you slept in, you could have missed on all of this.
Yes, sir.
So discipline is very important.
Discipline is very, very important to the young ones.
And that's one thing you want to teach the freshmen and sophomores, because you've been down that road before. It wasn't easy, Kyrie, when you went from one school to another. That's a big change.
No, it was very hard. When I walked into the school, everybody was like, who is that? What is he going to do for us? So I had to come out here, show him what I do.
But you learned from both Coach Smith and Coach Woodley. Talk about that.
Coach Smith, he started me off. He was talking to me. He was like, I really like your size. I want you to come out here, play for me. Start off early as a starter at receiver. And Coach Woodley, he seen that. He wanted me to come over. I came over and did what I had to do my job.
Oh, all the best to you the rest of your senior year and whatever other sports you might play.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Kyrie Medley-Smith right there from Heritage High School, wrapping up our trifecta of 3 interviews from Heritage High School in our October 2022 edition. For Ray Price, I'm Greg Bicoveris. Happy October, and we'll talk to you soon.